So, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night, whenever you're listening to this. This is Match
Right.
alongside my critic and partner in crime, Ricardo Medina,
Hello.
and hip hop extraordinaire, Doe Boi, representing San Fernando to the fullest.
Yes, good day, good whatever it is.
Yes. And this is our second episode of Retrospect Reviews. This is technically still the hip hop edition, but we also bring in movies here because, of course, like I said before, it's not just about albums we're going to be talking about. We're also going to be talking about movies. But this one here is not about an album, but it is about the major theme of this movie here is about rap music. Rap music as it was back in in this case, the early 90s. Of course, I'm talking about 1993's CB4. Alright, so yes, this movie came out on March the 12th, 1993. It was directed by Tamara Davis, who went on to direct a popular stoner movie by the name of Half Baked.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Huh, did not know that.
one of the actresses in the film, her name is Rachel True. She was the
Right.
one who played Dave Chappelle's girlfriend in that film.
Yeah,
She also
Mary Jane.
directed Billy Madison. She actually directed that 2 years after CB4. One of the better Adam Sandler movies. But yeah, so basically with this episode here of Retrospect Reviews, we're just gonna do like a review of sorts of the movie. So we're not gonna talk about like the technical stuff and if it was shot well and lit well. I mean, it's a Universal Pictures release, so you kind of come to expect that. But it's really about the writing, the characters, the music in particular. We had to talk about the music, the references to hip hop music at the time, but also to black cinema at that time.
Right.
Also to that's the point of it, the relevance of it at that time. And most importantly, if it's still relevant today, especially with the climate of today's rap music. Does CB4 is CB4 a relevant movie today, or is it just a product of its time that's making fun of albums that were products of their time, but still somehow have that longevity, you know?
Right.
So, just a brief little history about CB4, well, at least what it's about. If you guys are hearing a dog in the background, no, it's not my dog. We don't own, well, at least by me, we don't have a dog. It is Doe Boi's dog. I wonder if it has a name, or if she has a name, or I don't know. But
Oreo,
Oreo. Okay.
Dalmatian.
Oh wow.
Dalmatian.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So Oreo. Shout out to Oreo. Right. So yeah. So it's CB4. It's directed by Tamara Davis,
Yeah.
who I believe she actually started off doing music videos,
Right.
which kind of shows in some of the moments of the show where it kind of breaks off into like music video esque scenes.
Yeah.
It stars Chris Rock. This was one of his first feature film appearances. I believe the last time he was in a film was I will say this right now, probably, well, okay, he was in Boomerang. I forgot to mention that he was in
Right.
Boomerang with Eddie Murphy, which was a pretty good romantic comedy.
Yeah.
But to me
Yeah.
though, before that, one of his best performances, hand down, the best
Pookie.
crackhead ever
Yeah.
put to screen. Second to Samuel Jackson in Jungle Fever, and
Yeah.
Bubbles from The Wire is second and
Love
third in
that.
my opinion. But Pookie is the best crackhead ever put to screen. Pookie from New Jack City. If you've seen New Jack City, you know what I'm talking about. That man performance in that was so brilliant and so
Yeah.
memorable in my opinion. I mean, it's a shame that Pookie died, Dread. Pookie! But anyway, but I'll mention New Jack City.
Yeah,
in a bit.
well, get infamous. Everybody have Pookie in the neighborhood.
Yeah. And it was to the point that they still like people still come up to Chris Rock like ask him if he wants any coke or something like that. Now. I remember he said that in the interview.
Right.
Yeah. But anyway, so it stars him. Also from New Jack City is Alan Payne. He's the guy who played one of my
Yeah.
favorite characters from New Jack City, G Money. CMP,
Wow.
we all we got. Right, so it's him. A guy by the name of eazy-e, who is a rapper. Now he's a motivational speaker apparently. He plays the DJ in the group. We'll get to that. And we see some Saturday Night Live alumni in it. We also,
Yeah.
like for example, we see Chris
Phil
Elliott.
Hartman.
We see the late great Phil Hartman.
Yeah.
We see who else do we see? Well, apart from Saturday Night Live, we also see some familiar faces like from 90s films. We see Teresa Randall, we see Art Evans, we even see appearance by Isaac Hayes near the end at the very end of the movie. Like if you stick around for the ending credits, you'll see that, and so on and so forth. And also last but not least,
small rap cameos throughout in between the film.
Right,
and then of course
which we'll get to, of course, Well, forgot to mention too, Rachel True, who played Dave Chappelle's girlfriend in Half Baked. She's there, but yes, as you guys said, this was the debut appearance on film, feature film appearance by Charlie Murphy, late great Charlie Murphy, who passed away last year. Rest in peace, Charlie Murphy. So so Ricardo, I just want to fill us in on what CB4 is about.
All right, so CB4 is basically about these three idiots who basically get lucky and replicate. They try a up and coming little rap band in small performances, but what they did was they stole the identity of a real rapper. So they basically Rick Ross a fella.
Yeah. I'll just stop it for a bit. It's actually not a real rapper. It was the guy who owns this.
A real
criminal slash.
Yeah, basically right. Sorry, not a real rapper. They stole the identity of someone and then pay him off as a rapper.
Yeah.
And then stole the names from certain things like the name of the bar, name of this, and so on and so on.
Yeah,
and everything is filled in.
Right.
Everything is filled in through the lens of a documentary being made about them with the rise of their fame. And basically the parody is like something akin to, more or less the parody of NWA in a sense.
Basically.
Right.
Yeah. It is about NWA in a sense, just from the title CB4 NWA.
Right.
Also the controversy with their lyrics, how blatant and just all that stuff here. And most importantly, the public's response to this music, the response to this band, you know what I mean? How, especially in white America, how they responded to gangster rap at the time.
Right, and they get into the culture of that, so they get into all the jokes about the do-good politician, and then by his son into the rap, and all of these little. We'll get into the nature of the comedy.
Little nuggets.
Right, we'll get into the nature of the comedy and why it. I'll argue it. A lot of it kind of worked at the time, but a lot of it doesn't hold up, as I say. But in retrospect, when you with the hindsight, the history of hindsight, it really has that usual Saturday Night Live trappings of comedy stylings, which is it kind of prescient, but not too prescient, and a little slow on the uptake when it comes to like what to talk about, even at the time. So, but we'll talk about it.
Right. So as you mentioned before, Ricardo, we do see some guest appearances by rappers, right? There's an excellent segment that shows up near in the beginning of the film, where like the mockumentary part begins in the film, and we see a number of musicians, mostly hip hop artists, talking about CB4. And my favorite though had to be Ice-T, who was also in New Jack City. I love where he says, I had a little of this game, I thought it was sold up, man. Like, yo man, CB4 is a shit, man. They straight up G, man. Man, what the fuck am I gonna do, man? I can't do nothing, man. They're too hardcore, man. But one of them came out to me, man. MC Gusto came out to me. He's like, yo, you down with CB4, man? I felt blessed. That scene in particular is one of the funniest things I've ever seen in my life, Cheddar. It's so incredibly funny. Why? Because it's Ice-T and him being hardcore and him representing gangster rap at that time.
At that time.
Yeah.
Right.
He was, and I think that time Cup Killer did come out and
yes, it did. He had his rock group, Body Count at the time.
Body Count. So,
and it was at the time it was like given credence because it holds up in the same way. This we call the disaster artist kind of did a little bit of that. This whole, we consider this great and that is a part of the joke.
Yeah.
Even though you're not right. This whole he's actually mediocre and really shitty, but you have somebody. You have somebody who has actual street cred saying the person great, so that's a joke.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
A couple other appearances, couple other moments I liked in that intro was Ice Cube. I like how it really was just like, I just saw Gus today with the dad, and I was like, you know what, I'm not even gonna roll up and talk to him. I don't really know. Okay, with the pops, it's like whatever. I'll probably meet him in a swap meet or whatever like that. I thought that was cool. I love Eazy-E's moment. I love when the guy in the back was laughing. It's like, you just cut that hair, just keep it short like mine.
Right.
I thought that was funny.
They made reference to what you call him, Flavor Flav
Yes,
was
yes,
in
Flavor
this.
Flav was there.
Got a little bit. Yeah, it's pretty funny.
That was pretty funny. Halle Berry was there, you know, and she was big
Yes.
at the time
Right.
because she was in Jungle Fever for one thing.
Right.
She was in the Last Boy Scout, so
Right.
she was getting big at the time, and you know at that
Yeah.
moment, you know she was. Well, I don't see she's not attractive now, but or you know it's just that
She was
African American sex
it was
symbol at the
prime. It
time.
was
Yeah.
prime Juicy Berry at the time.
Yes.
It
She
was
was at
young
the
Barry.
juiciest.
Yeah.
She was at the
Young
juiciest point.
Yeah. The Shaquille O'Neal moment, I forgot
Right.
about that, but I
Yeah.
find it was pretty funny because of how he was talking
Right.
about it. And then, if you remember too, back in like 93, 94, he got into the rap game.
Right.
For
Yeah.
better or for worse, you know, I mean, he made an impact, I guess. I haven't really listened to any one of his albums.
That was
I don't
right
want to.
around his rookie year, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That was around his rookie year.
He was now
Yes.
getting big because the big Salah Shack was how big he was.
yes,
That
yes.
was
Yeah.
his set.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
What was pretty interesting to me was the rock group Butthole Surfers. I like
Right.
that one guy who was talking about the
I
first time
I did. Was that a real rock group?
It
and
is.
playing
It is,
somebody
it is.
else?
No, I
Who it
think
is?
this is a real rock group.
But
Okay,
I don't name.
The name.
That's their real name.
Oh,
That's their real name.
okay.
Yeah.
I don't know that.
Remember,
Okay.
the,
But
remember
what
the
I thought.
90s? Remember the 90s rock groups had like you had to. Okay, like I don't know if this is a gimmick. If this was a gimmick or it's still a gimmick today, you had to have like these real interesting names like Bare Naked Ladies, Blink 182, something
Right.
real uniqueness,
Um,
something that nobody ever thought of before. And I guess
not
they.
like that. Just like as I tell people, naming something, you know, that's had to catch somebody's ears.
Right.
Yes,
Right.
yes.
So-
like Bare Naked Ladies, for example, that catch people's ears, you know.
Yes. So,
Yeah, but I don't know. It's just to walk around and say, hey, my rock group name is X, and I go in with this with pride, you know. And it's not like the Lonely Island, for example, where you're just doing these comedic songs or like hair metal, whatever it is, like real grunge rock, whatever it is at the time. Now. So you want to be taken seriously, yet you have this name, but whatever. So I think it's the lead singer, lead performer at the time was talking about the first time that he heard one of their songs, which was Sweater by Bolster. He was talking about how he was making love with a black girl for the first time in his life, and there was actual sweater. It's how awkward it sounds though, but just hearing it from a white person, a white singer, that one really made it funny for me.
Right.
But yeah, those cameos I thought worked. It really kind of set up the tone of it. As far as the mockumentary style go, I think this is where we'll get to one of Ricardo's points about why it didn't really work, why this film as a whole didn't work. Is it kind of started off as a mockumentary, but this keeps
Right.
kind of breaking that mold. So it's kind of mockumentary, then it goes to narrative, back and
Yeah,
forth,
exactly.
back and forth, back and forth. There's even moments where
That's my
where
problem
you
with
even
it.
forget that Chris Elliott is talking to Chris Rock. There's a scene where they are on the Hollywood freeway or something like that, and they're stuck in traffic, and you know Chris Rock, who plays MC Gusto, is telling them the story of their comeuppance, how they came to be CB4. And there's a
Right.
moment where like a huge chunk of story you're getting, even though you're hearing Chris Rock's narration, but you almost forget that, oh, well, Chris Elliott is actually talking to this guy. There's a sound
Right.
man and there's a cameraman recording all this stuff. We forget that, you know what I mean? But
that was my problem with it, is that it didn't stick to the bit. No.
Yeah.
You have to stick to the bit when you're doing this, and it doesn't really work
That's
in that
the thing.
sense.
No, I'll
Yeah.
make this argument now that there was a movie, a little known movie, but fortunately I got to see it, that came out a year after this, which was called Fear of a Black Hat. This one did the mockumentary thing better than CB4. But this one was about a group, and the gimmick was they had hats on. So instead of NWA, it's NWH. So instead of
Right.
attitude, it's hats. So it's niggas with hats, you know what I mean? And that's the gimmick. There's a moment where they argue, it's like, that's the gimmick. We have hats on. It's not niggas without hats, it's niggas with hats.
Right.
And they did the whole, like, shock value, vulgar raps, you know, in between. And even had a soundtrack which had those songs in it, right? But really, it was just about these guys. I think, and it kind of plays out the same way how CB4 was, where it's like this group come together, they decide to do these songs, but then afterwards there's animosity within the group, controversy from the media and all that kind of stuff. They split up, they branch out and do other things, and then eventually they come back together. So it plays within that same style as CB4, but the mockumentary tone is maintained throughout the entirety of that show. But see what CB4 does well, just looking back at it as a 90s comedy, is just those comedic bits, just those moments that really stand out. It just plays out like a legit comedy, and I feel, in my opinion, they should have left out the mockumentary aspect of
Exactly.
it. Yeah, should have
And
just
do
been
it straight comedy.
through. Yeah.
But again, the reference point in my head of the when seeing it over was thinking of the disaster artists. No? So they decided to have this section where you have a mockumentary instead of just doing the thing and replicating the scenario. Why even put that in?
Yeah.
It is distracting though. Another thing that does it again. This also kind of sucked, but it still does the premise a little better, which is Lonely Island also had something similar, but they were making fun of pop stars, which is Never Stop Stopping or something like that.
Right, pop star. Yeah, I need to watch that show. I heard it's like ridiculously funny.
It's all right. It's not the worst thing ever, but for Lonely Island, level of comedy is really a mess. But again, it's that style of comedy if you're into it or not. Anyway, it's kind of the same thing. SNL, again, Saturday Night Live also has a working narrative of being okay, good parody, but it's what we call mainstream parody. It is a little late to the material, so it just falls flat for anybody who actually would like to consider themselves, comedy, connoisseurs like myself.
Right. I like how you say that. Yeah.
Right. But the aspect of this works in its at the time, because at the time, CB4 was pretty good for me, But again, it's one of those things that really don't age well.
Yeah.
Chris Rock, you can tell it's one of those things that Chris Rock would have probably regret, because he has his own stand-up that came out recently, which is solid.
Yes, Tamarind, solid.
And
solid.
it's such a big departure from what you saw in terms of at the time. Now.
Yeah.
He wasn't as successful as Eddie Murphy, but he came from SNL at a really young age now, doing stand-up. So for this film to be, it clearly is like a response to Wayne's World in a sense. Like say, okay, if they do Wayne's World, we could do this, and it's gonna be the Black Wayne's World kind of, but it flip it on its head, and then the characterization so weak overall, you don't really care. Well, that was kind of the problem compared to Wayne and Garth, which is memorable now.
Yes. Right. Well, I will talk about the writing itself, because I think the writing and just the stuff that's going on behind the scenes is really to the detriment of the film. But what I want to talk about, as you mentioned, Chris Rock, is just the fact that he is in this movie, for one thing, and also for those who don't know, if it's kind of obvious if you see CB4. Yeah, this man is heavily into hip hop. He grew up on hip hop music. If you watch Everybody Hates Chris, it is there. It is true.
He admit that how this hip hop is his love.
Yeah.
First choice of music, he loves hip hop.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes,
I mean, you can find his old stand up bits not so far back, about 10 years ago, where he talk about he tied a defending rap. This is when Yang Yan Twins came out.
Oh, gosh.
And who just had skeet, Lil Jon.
Well, Lil Jon, Get Low,
Right.
but that was like the mainstream hit for them, huh?
Yeah.
But why I say that about Chris Rock is because so a long while back, he actually put out a list online of his top 25 favorite hip hop albums of all time, and the artists that were there, they actually pop up in some way, shape, or form in this movie. For one thing, right off the bat, he is a huge NWA fan. To him, Straight Outta Compton is his all-time favorite album. He even describes it in the list where so dread that he actually had the vinyl, and his friends were coming over by him after school to listen to this. To him, NWA were like what the Beatles were in the 60s. It was just this revolution. So you could see the passion with this movie, and him wanted to kind of recreate NWA in a sense. I think, if I'm not mistaken, he was going to be involved in the Straight Outta Compton movie that came out a few years ago, or I think he wanted to do a movie like that. Well, he wanted to do the movie, but it didn't work out well. So they got F. Gary Gray to direct and stuff like that.
Right.
But he'll call himself one of the biggest NWA fans ever.
But you could see that how he's a big NWA fan from in the scene when they went to Detroit, and the police tell them those things, sweat on my balls.
Sweat on my balls.
Right.
It was Detroit or Sacramento, one of those places. Yeah.
Because even at the time, it was well-established narrative of what went down now. So by the time it wasn't hard to write. But that's the problem. Again, that's kind of the problem with the film in a sense, that it just replicates the situation too closely instead of learning how to build from the parody better. No.
Yes, yes.
Again, is again this this is not a problem with Chris Rock himself. It is a general problem with anybody from Saturday Night Live. Almost all of Saturday Night Live movies, live action movies, probably the exception of Wayne's World, just used to borrow a scenario and then copy it, right? Mary Catherine Gallagher, The Ladies Man, and you remember all that shit?
I remember when it came out. I never watched
Yeah,
it.
if you look back at it, it's just rip off like a
Ladies Man was filled too.
Right, exactly. It was terrible. But the thing is, these sketches are classic sketches, like a really classic set of recurring sketches.
Mm-hmm.
But the as a script, they just don't know how to build from it in any workable way. And the same thing with this film. It just, this is the joke, and all right, we get it. But you're not. That is not enough. You have to know how to.
You're not really going in depth. You're not being clever with it. It's just a kind of copy and paste thing.
Exactly.
But just back to the music, right? So another one of Chris Rock's favorite rap groups, was Run DMC. So there is a bit where you see Alan Payne, eazy-e, and Chris Rock in the car listening to King of Rock, right? Great scene. I actually love that scene, actually. But one thing that was pretty interesting is that when Wayne's World came out, there was a scene just like that with Wayne and Garth in the car listening to Queen's Bohemian Rhapsody. So when they get to that moment, that that moment where you do the headbang and they do that was like the point of it. In CB4 is the tape slowing down and speeding up and them trying to keep up with it, which is funny when you see it on screen, but it's one of those things, like if you see it for the first time you think it's funny. If you watch it like a lot of times, you'll be like, well, it's a moment, whatever it is. But it's a nice reference to Run DMC, so I thought that was cool. Of course, Ice Cube, who also makes an appearance in the film, like we said before. Chris Rock's favorite album from him was America's Most Wanted, which he brought out in 1990. Personally, I'm a Death Certificate fan. I think that's Ice Cube's best work to date. That's when he went back to the West Coast and just get real hardcore with it. But yeah, that album was I mean, America's Most Wanted.
I don't like that album.
You don't like Death Certificate? Why?
It
was too raw, too in your face. So.
It's good, but the Predator better.
Okay.
I guess. I mean, it had his best song. Today's a good day. Sorry. Yeah, best song from Ice Cube, hands down. What else? A slight little reference though, and the funny thing is, like, I had to rewind the film and I realized, oh my god, it's Tribe Called Quest they're making fun of though.
Yeah,
because when they were at MC Gusto's place, they were they used to have different monikers now. So one of the monikers was the Mad Bohemians.
Right.
And the song that they were singing, the chorus, was from Bonita Applebum now. It's like, we're the Mad Bohemians and we gotta get it on, or whatever it is. I'm like, oh my god,
it have a handful of. No, the movie still has a handful of like decent enough hip hop cuts. Like they're making fun of the Fat Boys. They make fun of.
Yes. The Bagheads thing was catch off guards though. But I love that part. The Bagheads.
Right.
Like, that's funny. That's genuinely funny because of how awkward it is though.
Yeah.
Right. So yeah, that's it with Chris Rock. So you could tell it's something that he was passionate about. He loved rap music. He loved the idea of rap music. Being able to say what you want, even though the rest of white America could say won't understand it. But it's about being that voice though, for the ghetto, being that voice for the black people. So it's understandable with him being on board with this though. But I think the main problem with it is that there was just too much people behind the scenes working on this film now. For one thing, you have three people working on this. Well, who wrote the script? It's Chris Rock, Nelson George, and Robert Locash. Yes, that's his surname, which is funny because the community where this guy's from is Locash, right, in California. And then it's just once again like what Ricardo says, that wanting to play to the Saturday Night Live crowd. You know what I mean? So you want to appeal to the white public as well too. So you want to be a black comedy where you want to appeal to the white public too by making fun, by making references of NWA and just the big deal with them, especially with the media and the controversy with the lyrics and stuff like that. And also the slight little jabs at like black movies at the time. Where there's a Spike Lee joint with one shot in particular. I forgot to mention this. Another album that he loves was the first album from Far Side. Which was Bizarre Ride to the Far Side. So you hear the beat from Passing Me Passing Me By, which is still their best song to date. So you see
Why?
that
Why
dolly
did you
shot.
say that? Why?
Dude, it's a great album. I mean, Lab
No,
Lab
it's a
in
good album,
California.
but oh,
I was not a fan
yo.
of the second album, to be
I
honest.
know
Had a
that
couple of
song.
great tracks, but
Yeah, the second album, not that, but I know the best song. The best
yeah.
song is Run,
Oh
Running
yes,
Away.
yes. Running Away. Oh, which was produced by G Dilla, by the way. One of his best beats, in my honest opinion. But yeah, so there is a moment where they replicate the whole dolly shot technique that
Yeah.
Spike Lee does, and you hear any beat in the background. You know, they do that. Yeah, they even they even go so far as to replicate Pookie's getting high scene where he's wearing
The crack
the
scene,
American flag shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
which was smart. I like that. But still is like a little too on the nose, shit. A little too on the nose. But you know, it's 93, so it's like, all right, we get the joke, haha, right?
Right.
And
It
even
really,
see
yeah, like everybody know him as Spooky there.
yeah.
So,
Yeah, to do the joke.
like,
Yeah. And even mentioned, well, you know, Gusto's no Nino Brown, but, you know, that. So they throw a little New Jack City reference there.
Right.
Also, well, okay, well, just the other characters as well. Alan Payne's character, I thought was pretty good as well.
Right.
So
Right, so
he
this
plays,
character-
Euripides, aka Dead Mike.
Right.
Right.
mm,
But
Um,
the thing with this character is that he is a kind of play on. So I don't know if you remember SNL's Chris Rock had a character called Natex. The sketch was the dark side of Natex, which was basically an Afrocentric type character. What did he get roped in? And that's the idea of this character. He have roughly the same arc.
Right.
with
What
Matu.
was it a radio station that they used to host any sketch? I try
No,
to
no,
remember how
right.
the
The sketch was
went.
a talk show. It was something
Right, it was
along
a
the lines
talk
of
show, something like that. Yeah.
Right, something along those lines, right? And basically kind of the same thing. You're making fun of the same jokes of my brother and Nubian this and we from this part of Africa, that
Yeah.
shit. No?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I respect women and so on. So was the girl was the reporter? Was the reporter in this
Eve,
again?
right. That's Teresa Randall though.
Okay,
a
right.
young
right.
Teresa Randall, yeah.
Yeah.
I really like the character as well. When you talk about
Yeah.
women in this film too, because
Yeah.
that has a part to play in kind of what works and what don't work in the story. But yeah, Alan Payne, plays Dead Mike. So yes, we forgot to mention the monikers for these characters here. So Chris Rock, of course, is MC Gusto because he's making fun. He's more or less playing Gusto, who's
crime
Charlie Murphy's
boss.
character, yeah, crime boss, drug dealer and stuff. And you know, you can make the argument it's similar to like Rick Ross, what Rick Ross did, what 50 Cent did, you know, that kind of thing. I was like, yeah, I see what y'all did there. And also on the subject of that reminds me of this line that Jay-Z said on his song "Excuse Me Again," La La La. Remember from the Bad Boys 2 soundtrack where
Yeah.
nigga, what is you can't see me, dog, nigga, you CB4. This ain't Chris Rock, bitch. This the Rock, bitch.
It's a rock bear.
Yeah.
yeah.
And you know, it's just thinking about that where basically it's this character trying to be something that he's not, you know, and that to me is like the major theme of this show, of course. Alan Payne, of course, is Dead Mike, which is like one of the best names ever. And when you hear
Right.
it straight out of Lukash, it sounds great.
Yeah.
D plays Starmaster
What's
Arson,
that?
which is like a
Yeah.
perfect
Stab Master Awesome.
yeah, which is like the perfect parody of Jam Master J.
That's a,
You know, right off
that
the
the perfect that the perfect Monica at all. That sounds
yeah,
like
it's so over the top, but it works, huh? It really
Right.
yeah,
works.
that like the ultimate metal band name.
Yeah,
Like,
or if it's like horrorcore rap music,
Right.
it's like you call yourself like that Star Master,
Yeah.
some kind of thing there. You know what I mean? Yeah. So yeah, Alan Payne's character to me reminded me of Ice Cube because he was one of the first people from NWA to leave the group. He's actually the first member of the group to leave, and then look what he did. He converted to Islam, and then he brought out that America's Most Wanted album. And you know he joined in he joined the Nation of Islam basically, you know. So Alan
Yeah,
Payne's
so
character goes
all
through
of
that
that
kind of
feeding
arc.
to with the movie when I watching it with the dude that come up and started to talk to Dead Mike.
Oh, Baba Ak.
Yeah,
Right.
you're actually seeing
Uh,
he feeding Dead Mike bullshit now.
Right.
Yeah,
No,
yeah.
was the
But
actor's name?
Richard Gant, that's his name.
Okay, right.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he appeared in like a ton of movies, a ton.
Yeah,
of
yeah.
movies.
I was trying to pick off his name, trying to watch it at the time. I was like, okay, yeah. But yeah, it's a classic kind of joke. Again,
Yeah.
here's a movie we kind of have to compare this movie to. So Don't Be a Menace in the South Central.
That one,
Don't be a
no,
menace to
man,
South
see.
Central
Right.
while drinking the juice in the hood.
That's the difference. And you see, at the time, because much like how we had to compare this movie to that, we had to compare SNL to In Living Color, where
Yeah.
Keenan Ivory was supposed to be on SNL and would have punched up that show, end up making In Living Color, and end up blowing it away.
Yes.
And Don't Be a Menace did the whole making fun of the whole gangster
Hood
movie
movies, yeah.
and rap culture in one.
Yes.
Like, and much better. But for me, the funniest scene in that movie is when he was trapped in prison with the.
Oh,
with
with
his
that guy.
Muslim man. With the Muslim man.
Muhammad
Right.
Ali float like a
Right.
butterfly and sting
Yeah,
like a
yeah.
bee.
And it
One
had to
of
run
the
it.
fried bacon.
Right. And again, this just show how this movie just kind of fall flat, and they just couldn't, for whatever reason, they just couldn't go the extra mile with the material.
Because, well, at that time,
Right.
they find out that how the Nation of Islam at that time was just one man hate group, basically.
Essentially, right.
Yeah,
And
at that
this is around
time.
the time.
For
This was around the time the Million Man March was a thing and all of that stuff now. So
Yeah,
it's-
well, that
right.
like after Farrakhan get in control, while Elijah Muhammad was in control,
right.
his job was just hate white people, love black people.
Right.
So with that idea, they just making fun of yo and
Yeah.
that dude at that time now.
Yeah,
Right.
and even right down to the lines that Alan Payne says, like, pork is the white man,
Right.
and the white
Right.
man is pork. You know what I mean? Like, it's just these nonsensical pro-black stuff. Like
Right.
near the end, he says he going to bring out his own brand of deodorant because the black man
Right.
have a different type of funk. You know what I mean? It's
Right,
like
right,
relevant. But to me, though, the best moment with Alan Payne in this movie, hands down,
Of course.
is when he
Yeah.
break out and he brought out
His
that
own
man
album.
black. Cause I'm black, yo, and I'm
Yeah,
black,
classic.
yo, and I'm
Yo.
blackity black, and I'm black, yo.
And that the whole song.
Brilliant,
Black,
brilliant.
black.
Yeah.
And it just keeps, well, I'm glad that it's just like a minute of him just going
Yeah.
blackity black, and you think
Right,
you're going to cut
exactly.
to actual lyrics, and it's like, no,
Yeah.
blackity black,
Yeah.
black, and I'm black, yo.
But they had some little.
Nah,
well,
and
couple-
one other lyric that black and I'm back.
Yeah, black,
Right.
and I'm back.
yeah.
Like,
And I mean,
classic
they had some good running jokes with him as well, where he had to do the whole you're not sure if the joke holds up, but I still found it funny even watching it recently. This is where he had to do the gay call service
Oh
thing.
yeah, it's like
That was still funny. Yeah,
you got some big balls, man. You got some King Kong
Right,
balls,
right.
man.
Yeah, exactly.
Big
That
Kong
made it so,
balls.
it was so dry there. Another bit, and then it had a joke where he needs somebody in the restaurant.
Right. Went to his big ass biscuit.
Yeah, big ass biscuit. And the joke was, and then the joke was he make fun of some dude like,
Yeah,
hey,
some
your voice
dude
sounded
yeah,
familiar.
recognize his voice. Like, did I hear you on
Right.
the radio or something?
Right. Yeah. And it make that connection because you're not sure if they're making the connection there.
Yeah.
Like you get it from the audience. And again, still solid material for the most part. But for me, it's just again, it just a lot of it is so fall flat. So you have this dumb joke at the end when Gusto and Stabmaster wanted to kiss each other. And it's like, wait, what? Why?
Yeah.
Is the point of
Which
the
came
joke?
out to the blue and
Yeah.
then oh by the way,
Yeah, that
they
was
use,
real left field.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
use one of Chris Rock's hip hop heroes, LL Cool J. Yeah, cause he's a fan
Right.
of LL Cool J.
Right.
He loves his Mama Said Knock You Out album. That to me, yeah, I mean, for its time, it's a classic. But I wouldn't say I'm like the biggest LL Cool J fan, so I can't
Right.
say that album is the best. But I understand why he would say it's the best. But just that reference with him and that song "I Need Love," like the first time they play it, where you have where Chris Rock was imagining himself running towards the arms of his love, and you see
Right.
with all the chains, and then he felt that's funny. But then that moment where it's like Chris Rock and drag and these and Starmaster
Yeah.
and because all through the show they established that the man just thirsty, the man just
Right.
well into reading ebony ass magazines and stuff.
Right.
So it's like what
He
you just
told-
see
yeah,
a
he
black
told
guy
him
with
he had-
makeup. Well, sorry, a guy in drag with makeup, and you just suddenly want to kiss him. And then there's
Right.
that nasty shot with his tongue moving about. It's like, oh
Yeah.
god, what was that?
And
You know?
what I notice about it is that you get the feeling that they write is it's one of those things is the extended skit now. That's the problem with the
Yeah,
movie
yeah,
is that
yeah.
it's a lot of filler in the material. So
Yeah.
a lot of it doesn't work and you're not sure what's going on there
Right,
uh,
right.
in that aspect of it now. So whatever.
Yeah, but before we get to that third act, because I want to talk about that third act. A couple other characters, couple other big names show up in the film. For one thing, Tommy Davidson, right, who was from
Yeah.
In Living Color, one of my favorite performers from that show, to be honest. He
Yeah.
plays Wade Warren, so he has this video countdown
Yeah.
thing. And
Yeah.
I don't know if it's true at that time, but it's amazing how they aired the raw uncut version of Straight Outta Locash. Okay, if you hear the lyrics for that song, the lyrics still funny to this day, still hold up. Especially
Shit in a bucket, huh?
especially MC Gusto's line with Straight Outta Gusto. Sorry, Straight Outta Locash, crazy motherfucker named Gusto. I fuck your wife cause the bitch is a big hoe. I fuck your
Yeah.
sister, I fuck your cat. I wanna fuck your moms, but the bitch is too fat. Like every time I
Yeah.
hear that, it's just insanity. I love that. Dead Mike's verse is great as well. Where you see, I'm gonna take you for a long hike, throw you over, and as you said, Doe Boi, this where you see with the bucket. That line,
Yeah.
I love that. But just the mere fact that they aired this on TV, uncut.
Right.
So I'm wondering if that's the case.
I do
If that was
remember
the case at the
SNL.
time, at the radio at the time. With TV
No, I
at the
remember.
time.
I remember. Comedy Central had a lot of they had a late night thing where they used to show like around, I don't know, 12 or 1. So they had a fully uncensored version of a movie.
Yes,
whatever
I
it
remember
is,
they did that with they did it with Soul Park, Bigger Longer. Uncut.
Right.
They had it
They had a
uncut.
ton of, but they had a ton
That
of
Team
stuff.
America
They did it,
uncut.
right. And I remember. I think CB4 was one of them, if I remember correctly. And yeah, I
Oh.
remember that. I was like, oh yeah,
Yeah.
this wasn't big. So,
Yeah, and as
that
you
was
bring up that, as you bring up Comedy Central, because well, oddly enough, that was where I actually saw the movie for the first time. But I saw the
Okay.
TV version of it where they censored
Okay.
certain lines there.
Right.
So it's when I actually watched it, the full R-rated version. I was like, oh my god, that's what they being said. It's much more hilarious that way instead of censoring everything.
Right.
Right. So just getting to the women in this film, and this was one issue that the great film critic Roger Ebert had an issue with, because he actually didn't really like the film at all. He actually gave it 1.5 stars, mainly because of its tone and it trying to be one thing but not really sticking with it, you know what I mean? Which is what we were talking about before. But just the representation of women in the film, though, because for one thing, it kind of makes fun of, the video vixens, how they're represented on screen, and then also on wax, how women are represented, especially with NWA, with the first couple of albums, the way how they used to talk about women and describe them, even though they'll make the argument and say, well, no, it's these type of women, it's not all women in general. I mean, we love women. We love our mamas and we love our baby mamas and whatnot, you know what I mean?
Right.
But the three main characters, the three main women, I should say, Eve, who is played by Teresa Randall, she's the news reporter. She's the one who's just against their music at all because of just how misogynistic it is. We also have Chris Rock's girlfriend in the film.
Yeah, Rachel
and,
True.
Yeah, Rachel True, and just right off the bat, she just hates rap music. She doesn't like it. Oh, and on the subject of that, we forgot to mention Wacky D, right?
Right.
Wacky D.
Wacky D.
Oh, the MC
Exactly.
Hammer dude.
Yeah, my guy.
It's more CC and the Music Factory. That's what they making fun of.
Right. Right.
But everybody dance now. That's a joke.
Right.
And then, of
Right.
course, they make the joke with, oh, well, it's not a white woman who's singing the chorus. It's a fat black woman. And they do
Right.
that.
Yeah, that was a good
was a
point.
good
They
bit.
point
That was a
out
good
there. That was
point,
precious
yeah.
at the time, because I remember that was a big deal.
Yeah, that was a
And
big
they
issue
just
at the time.
they showed the girl dancing and they just cover her up and it was really a black woman. Yeah, that was a big thing at the time. This whole
Yes.
because the 90s was now starting to have this big blowback and everything had to be quote unquote real.
Yeah.
They just had this huge. That was a huge thing at the time.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
unbelievable. It was on that level now. Of,
Exactly.
oh, you're fake. All right, we're gonna destroy you, kind of thing now. And they
Yeah.
made that. That was a good point.
Yeah,
at the
and
time.
what was pretty funny about CC and the Music Factory, that's like a slight little detour, is how the guy, right, who's rapping, tries so hard to sound like Ice-T. It's like, I'm gonna
Right.
that kind of low voice register. It's like
Yeah.
it's like him trying to sound like Ice-T, but it's just him
I would say
trying to
he
sound
trying.
edgy. He's like,
He-
you know.
I would say he tried because that could just be voice.
I
But
guess so. Yeah.
but what does catch you like most of the 90s house music is like we was into 90s house music.
Yeah, because it was big. You could not escape everybody dance.
No,
No, you could
as
not
a
escape
kid-
the power. You couldn't
As
escape
a kid,
Ice
yeah,
Ice
I
Baby
was
and
into
Can't Touch It. So it was
90s.
all over. You know.
As a kid, I know that was an older. Yeah, I like 90s house, but
Yeah.
like, dude, this was like too much work because you had to
Right?
dance. You had to
Yeah.
dance. And the music so upbeat now you could practically die on the dance floor from either dehydration or
Yeah.
Yeah.
your heart giving out on you. So
Yeah,
that was
man.
a bad time in the 90s.
Yeah, but I mean, it was all over. I mean, it was in commercials. You was hearing it on NBA, not just in the games, but for the ads for NWA. Sorry, for NBA. Remember there was a show called NBA Action. Like they used to
Yep.
have those songs playing in those commercials though. It's like you could just keep it. But back to the show.
Yeah.
So I like the character of Wacky D. As if you listen to his lyrics, it's like, yo, I could dance and did I mention before that I could dance? That's my favorite line in that,
and
that
and
performance.
and he pants like the bar 5X pants.
Yeah.
And just look for like the skinniest dude in the room and say, yeah, you gotta be wacky.
Yeah,
We just want this whole pants to just swallow you.
yeah. And the subject of Wacky D, though, well, once again, reality versus fake. I love the scene where this is like a famous bit, right? Where Trusters Jones, who's played by Willard E. Pugh, I believe that's how you pronounce his name,
Yeah.
where he dies. The way how he dies is just so incredibly
Yeah, that was a
dumb.
funny bit. Yeah.
That was funny.
Yeah.
I love that. But in the funeral itself, Wacky D comes up to him and is like, well, yeah, don't mind it's a funeral and all, but I want my money. You better give me my money. I want my money. And he slaps him too. I like
Slap
he
his
just
head
does
down.
the Santa Cross and just walk off afterwards. Like that's a funny bit. I like how they bring back Wacky D in that moment. That was dope. But let's get back to the woman here. But the main one is Candy Alexander, who plays Sissy. And she's like this real experienced video vixen. And there's one scene
Right.
where she's talking to two others and talking about, well, yeah, I basically just do these things to get rappers
Or
to pay me.
the gold digger.
Yeah, the gold digger character is like, well, but
Right.
the way how she spins it is like, well, you just want to go to restaurants and you just want to watch whoever it is. But what about if you get you get to pay for yourself to go to a restaurant? You manage your way financially, But still, once again, it's off the backs of rappers. So like I get where she's coming from, but at the same time there's like a kind of double standard to it, which I guess is the point. And to me, I think this is like one of the big issues that people will have watching this movie again, or
Not,
especially if you see the
not
first
really,
time,
yeah, because
the kind of contradiction with these women. Well, with her character, I should
well,
say.
yeah, but I would say that because that like normal bad thing philosophy with
Right.
yeah, if he basically coochie paying for it.
Yeah.
Yeah, coochie paying for it, so better not to get it up for a price than get it up for free.
Right.
Yeah, you're right. And she does have this gimmick where she always takes pictures of the rappers who going down and that kind of thing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
as insurance.
Yeah, basically, yeah. It's like you want to make me out. Oh, what if I send this picture to like a newspaper, or whatever it is, some hip hop magazine? Oh, you're in trouble now. And last but not least, we had to talk. Well, let's get back to like main characters. Not last but not least, but two other characters you had to mention. Phil Hartman, who plays Senator.
Yes.
Well, he's a
Yes.
he's a senator, right? I believe it is.
I
Virgil.
couldn't remember.
Well, basically, he plays Virgil Robinson. He is like the main spokesperson against
Yeah. The more
CB4's
majority
music.
figure,
And it's ironic, even though I find it's a little too on the nose, that his son is into CB4's music. Oh
Right.
yes, and props for having him saying nigga too. He says it when he's doing Dead Mike's verse. He says that,
Yeah.
like, oh my god, he actually said the N-word. Wow.
Well, yeah, at the time it wasn't a big deal. Like, it's only now they make that whole thing. But yeah, it does. At the time it wasn't a problem. So it's like, whatever.
Yeah, because part
Yeah.
of the joke actually is how shocking it is.
Right.
But I felt personally they could have done more with the character, because like he's just
Exactly.
there at a particular moment, and then after the whole debacle at Sacramento, I believe that's where they replicate the whole the
Yeah.
performance,
Detroit thing.
the Sweat on My Balls performance, where it's like if you perform that song, we're gonna arrest you. You know what I mean? But after that you don't see him again, basically.
Right.
And then last but not least, we have Charlie Murphy, DB performance as this tough guy, just real brazen tough. Gusto. He has one of the best lines in this show, which is, "I'm 3 generations deep in gangsterdom." 3 generations. Like, think about that for a minute. Now. Think
Yeah.
about that. 3 generations deep in the way.
Grandpappy Daddy gospel.
Like, that is a classic line in my opinion. And the way how he kind of gets back at them was pretty interesting as well, because yeah, he was in jail at the time where CB4 get blew up, and basically CB4 represents Cell Block 4, which was the actual area of the prison where Gusto was staying at. So of course he
Right.
escaped, and then he tried to frame Gusto, and well, when he realized that Gusto living with his parents and all that kind of stuff, that guy from Die Hard 2, the black guy, he plays Chris Rock's dad, and I actually like the moments with him where he's bringing these moments of clarity as well. You know, it's like, you're not tough, Joe. You're not from the streets. You wouldn't know that life, and if you knew that life, you wouldn't be glamorizing it in, with your group. You know, so I thought that was a great moment.
Right.
But yeah, just about the movie itself, though. Just in my opinion, I think as far as like early '90s comedies go, where you just kind of shut your brain off and you just laugh at it and you have fun. I think it works. It's entertaining. It's dumb. Um, and I felt personally, because of, not just because it's Chris Rock and because it has SNL people on board, but just because of the story itself. You could go that far and really be much more clever with the subject matter. And I felt that's what Fear of a Black Hat did. It really got deeper into the whole aspect of rap music now. Yes, how that's the contradictory nature of it now. But I felt with this one, it was just like kind of surface level. It was like, hey, remember when NWA brought out Straight Outta Compton, and how big that was? You know what I mean? And it just kind of replicates their history, but it never kind of goes in depth to say, oh, well, this is like the real irony behind it. We see little moments of irony in it, but not too much to say. I felt that, even right down to the references to rappers before, and, just the representation of rap music at that time, how the media looked at rap music at the time, negative representation of black people and women and stuff like that. They could have gone a little bit deeper. Not too much to be some kind of drama, but just enough to be like, that's really clever. And really, in my opinion, I think that the last 10-15 minutes of the show is the weakest moment, where they get back at Gusto himself.
Gusto?
Because it's like they stop being this whole hip-hop parody, and it's like, well, now we have to get back at this guy, so we have to have the scene with them in a motel. Like, I felt the motel scenes in particular, even
Right.
one scene
Yeah,
with
that was
with Dead Mike and
a waste.
Gusto and Sissy together. Them separately, in the motel with her. There's even one cringeworthy part where it's like they swap Chris Rock, having sex with the girl, and then they swap it to like this dummy.
Right.
And it's like, okay, we get, it's too much for him. He's about to explode. But it's
Right.
4 seconds of a dummy. Like, why do we have this? You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's one of those over the top things. I mean, it kind of
Yeah.
still work, but you had to be into that. So
Yeah,
it's
but
like,
it kind of
you find
stops,
that
though.
one.
It kind of stops. It,
Right.
again, you have to bring any sex in it, because
Ah.
it's about that lifestyle. We get that, but I felt at the moment the film kind of stops for that moment. Even with that Blackstreet song in the background, which isn't bad, but I mean, it's Blackstreet. Come on, but I felt like that last moment with them in the motel kind of brought down the film for me, because it just kind of stopped being smart. It just wanted to go for sleaziness. It's like, oh, well, we're gonna set you up like here, and instead of Sissy, it's Chris Rock in drag, and I'm like,
Drag.
well, you could have come with a better way of getting back at Gusto. You know what I mean? In my opinion,
The ending itself, when Chris Rock come out and he like lose the jerry curls and the shades and like, this is me.
yeah, I'll just go back to being plain old Albert. That was nice. I
Yeah.
like that moment. That was nice. Yeah.
And CB4, we could do one more and then we could try to do something else. That was cool.
Yeah, and they do the rappers delight moment. I thought that was cool. That was nice. And they even
But-
do like a little reference to like when the credits were rolling, that you see MC Gusto was doing this commercial thing. So it's a nice little jab at how rappers end up doing commercials. Whether it was like the Wu-Tang, I think the Wu-Tang did some for Pepsi, or either them or Notorious B.I.G. They as they got popular, it's like those companies got them to do,
To
promotional
endorse
stuff for
stuff,
them,
yeah.
to endorse stuff. And I thought that was clever, even though the joke kinda didn't really work for me. But I got the point there. But yeah, continue.
Now, well, again, that part was good enough for me to say, well, we can excuse the setup with with Kristen Jag,
Yeah.
because they had to get gusto, and they're not grimy enough for them to say, well, we can try to shoot it out with gusto.
Right.
Or we can't snitch on gusto because gusto do. So they tried to, even self if gusto tries something, they have a one up on them with he always Chris Rock.
Yeah. But I mean, as far as like just a parody of early '90s, well, late '80s, early '90s hardcore hip hop or gangster rap, I should say. I think CB4 works with that. I think some of some of the jokes still work. Others don't really work as well, in my opinion. But it is what it is. I mean, it could have been better if it was just a little bit smarter. If it was just a little bit more intelligent, I should say. But instead of just going for this kind of, oh, well, we're just gonna be so over the top and in your face with it, so you have to see because it's so wild and so funny. But it is what it is, in my opinion. Ricardo, your just final thoughts. Well,
Yeah.
thoughts of the movie. I can't say
Yeah,
final,
yeah.
but
No,
just
as,
thoughts on the
it's a movie that even at the time, it's a movie. It really has a product of its time.
Yes,
a lot
yes.
of it doesn't hold up, but a lot of jokes are still well done and quite prescient. But I can imagine a lot of the joke. Like if you watch it now, unless you have some working understanding of hip hop history,
Yes.
you're probably gonna miss a lot.
Yeah.
And that is a problem. But I kind of get it. So whatever.
Yeah. It'll be even worse for people who like never like listened to NWA, let alone watch the Straight Outta Compton movie that came out a few years ago. They'll be lost by this,
Right.
But not just that, but also just like old school rappers like Run DMC and those guys, they won't really understand that. Which reminds me, I kind of like that dream sequence with the hip hop retirement home. Like when I saw that, I was like, I really wonder if this is where old school rappers really go to it. Like, is this where Kool Moe D and Big
Right,
Daddy
right.
Oh,
Kane and
Lord,
Rakim
wow.
and those guys go to when they're not when they're not in the spotlight anymore? You know what I mean? Like, it's a really interesting concept that they use there, but once again, something that they could have really done a little bit better, in my opinion. Yeah. So just before we round things up, though, but the real reason why I really want to talk about CB4 is its theme, basically about, being fake to get ahead, wanting to be a hardcore rapper or a gangster rapper when in reality you haven't lived that life. And, we could make that parallel to today's rap music, especially with the SoundCloud movement that's been going on over the past few years. Where it's like just these youngsters basically who have access to GarageBand and know somebody who could build a beat. Basically just doing all these trap rap and
I
all these
know
kind of
somebody
things.
that could build a beat just going on YouTube and
Boring
knifing
beats,
some
yeah.
shit.
Right.
Yeah, and just these youngsters coming out and just doing, whether it's trap rap or drill rap and those kind of things. And when you see the videos, yeah, you're not in that life. We know that. Come on, like Slim Jesus, we know you're not into that life. And even him come out and say he just like to rap
From the
about
time I didn't
guns.
see
Like,
Brick
Love
Heck,
that.
from the time I didn't see Brick Heck with the gun talking about he shooting people.
yeah.
No, I just call Slim Jesus Brick Heck because he does just like Brick from on the middle.
Yeah.
So see, I like he know about that life.
I know, right?
And well, you want to know a funny thing, like a real OG blood Michi Siddick really thought that how he was about it because he put on the persona so good.
Right.
That Michi thought that how I actually thought that how this kid was active. Turned out he wasn't.
Oh shit.
Wow.
Yeah.
As you mentioned, Ricardo, men like Lil Xan, this
Yeah.
rapper that I got into, well, just out of curiosity, 6ix9ine,
Right.
he have a few videos out. He's
And
always
it-
be with a bunch of
the only
Crips and
reason-
them. And, sorry,
Yeah,
bunch
the
of
only
Bloods and
reason
them.
the only reason I know about him is because of the parody. There's a parody, a gay parody of him.
For Gummy, right? Or
For
Gummo,
Gummo,
right? Gummo, yeah.
Called Como.
He
I haven't watched it yet.
That's the reason I know about the
Like the
cover. I was like, okay.
rainbow
Yeah,
head
the
blood.
rainbow guy,
Yeah,
Takashi,
yeah.
of his name is. And like, I'll confess something. I listened to his debut album slash mixtape, right? It's called D69, right?
Yeah.
And the first time I heard it in my life, and like I was getting this Fredro Star Onyx vibe, the way how he just rapped that, like, the money nip, man, I'm ready, right, like
Yeah.
this real aggressive style. And I was thinking, okay, this is like 90s hardcore hip hop again. A little MOP vibe there. And then I watched a video for Gum. I was like, wait, are you really from the East Coast? You from New York?
Yeah.
And then I
Right.
see with a bunch of blood says, like, wait, you not blood? And then the next
You know?
video, he with some Crips. And then, like, in one of his Instagram videos, apparently, he say, well, people take because he with blood, he's a blood. And people take because he with Crips, he's a Crip. So, like, wait, so you's neither Crip nor blood. So, why you repping both gangs? Like, what going on here, though?
Yeah.
And
They're
then
all dumb,
Well,
and then just, well, that's one thing. And then when you listen to the entirety of the album, it's just one note. It's just him shouting. It's just him with, I'll shoot you down, I'll beat you up. It's just the same thing again and again and again. And this is the problem with these SoundCloud rappers. But yeah, Doe Boi, yeah,
all right, with him, I heard about him, was it about 2 years ago when
Right.
Bodiga Bam had a track with him. And
Bodiga Bam is Bam's, how he is?
yeah, Bams.
Yeah,
Bodiga Bam.
I actually familiar with his work. He real good, real good.
So I watching, he had the 69 on his head. So like,
This man have 69 like all over his body though. Like what?
so at the time he had it on his head. So
Okay.
I, being an anime fan, I like, yo, this dude dope for the tattoo because he reminded me of the anchors from Bleach.
Yes.
So-
Yes. True.
So,
Wow.
I-
I forgot about that boy. Wow. No, remember there was a character from Bleach who had the
yeah.
6'9" on his
He was
head.
the 9 divisions
no,
vice captain.
in Bleach should have some people call the anchors. They're like
Ankara.
Yeah, Krimjau, Jaga
Yeah.
Yes.
Aran, no, not Ankara. Aran Karu.
Yeah. You see,
Aranka.
I forget about
Yeah,
Bleach
Aranka.
characters. Wow. Yeah.
Right, yeah, the
You're right.
tattoos. Yeah.
But I see the tattoo on his head. I like, yo, that dope. That dude looking like he's an anime head.
Right.
And being one of the few dudes that does still reference Naruto and Bleach in bars.
Yeah, next
Like,
one is
yeah.
like XXX Tentacion. He
Yeah,
references a lot
so
of
I like-
anime too. Yeah.
So I'm like, yeah, dude, I'll get married. And then he that's as he draped out in red. I'm like, okay, homie got brought home, somebody jump him in.
Right.
Then he started doing more and more questionable shit. Then we started hear people say, well, he just dressed in red, and they're like, oh, so posing. And then Casanova dropped that set tripping for he with the bars with who lucky in you ain't no look, who brought you home, you ain't no blood.
Wow.
So-
Okay.
I like, well, it had to have something here if he faking the funk.
Right.
Well, I put only one track I hear with him. As I say, the man does either look too sound cloudy for me, but I feel when
Right.
But I
If
like
I
his
listen to-
energy, dude. He has energy. The man could get something turned
Yeah.
up to it. But once again, another problem I just have with SoundCloud rap, right? Same problem I had when I listened to Lil Pump's mixtape. Yes, I actually suffered through that because I love my ears, right? Why are these tracks so short?
Yeah.
Why are these tracks is clocking like 2.5 minutes? Like,
do something.
like
yeah.
this is not Lil Jon where you hear that track and it going
Ah,
on for
they
like
like-
4 minutes and you going insane.
I have a big problem
It's like
with that.
2.5 minutes and it's just done.
That
Why?
the formula
Yeah, like I
for
hate
like
that, man.
most see the band like Bones and them that is like the leaders of that.
Yeah.
That SoundCloud thing. Bones have no track over 3 minutes.
Right.
Right.
All he tracks them does be just one verse and a hook. One verse and a
One
hook.
verse and a hook. Jeez,
One verse
man.
and a hook. One verse and a hook. If he collab with somebody, it could be 2 verses.
Right.
That
No, but
real
the
sad.
format, like I personally prefer anything like within between 3 and 4 minutes. But yeah, I could totally understand that it was driven by the structure of
SoundCloud, yeah.
Yes.
of television. Like why it is that anything was above 3 minutes back in the days was because of television. You needed your video to be a certain length, and this had to be a certain time, and then that had to be a certain time. Clocking in the song now.
The format for that now is that how SoundCloud does only get our music.
Right.
So if you want to put out an album,
yeah,
if you want to put out an album, it had to be short as possible.
Right.
Right. Oh, good point. Good. That's a good problem. Good point. Sorry, actually.
Yeah, the technology forced it. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
true.
Okay. But apart from, just get back to the whole SoundCloud movement now. Then you have guys like oh gosh, who Ricardo mentioned last year. I made the joke. I say he's like the best. He's like my new favorite rapper, Lanze, right?
Yeah.
Is that?
Yeah, look up that dude. Look up a video called Lanze, Lanze.
Yeah, he have a ton of songs. But
yeah, you have a surprisingly high amount of material, but it's like the most insane shit. And apparently, I think, well, it's not clear, but I don't know if this is the gimmick or by intention or by control, where he has like asthma or something.
oh
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, well, it has some good men that come out of SoundCloud from the SoundCloud movement. Like, for me, the best people I hear from on SoundCloud with a long while of Suicide Boys, and I know about Suicide Boys them a while before.
I'm not a fan of them. I think the subject matter is a little too on the horrorcore side. I'm not a big horrorcore fan, so yeah.
Right.
I'm a big fan of Suicide Boys. And it have like a lot of good SoundCloud dudes them out there, but in the days of microwavable hits, it's the most sketchy thing that catch somebody here.
Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, you know what I mean. So I mean, yes, you have your Migos and your Drakes and them, which you'll hear on radio off beat. I mean, it's understandable, right? Big hits.
Yeah.
But then, of course, you have the SoundCloud movement. But the real, well, we really want to bring it up is just how easy some of these so-called artists think it is to make it big. You know, just get a dope quote-unquote track, rap the same generic stuff that you heard millions of times before. Talk about you moving weight, you selling a brick. Yeah, good.
Nah.
With bitches, blah blah blah.
Well, it depends, because like this fellow, we call him I would call him a SoundCloud rapper, but the one who went to jail, Bobby Schmurder.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, him. Oh, God.
He has a beat.
That guy.
He has a beat, like his most famous track is a beat that Lloyd Banks did, right?
Yeah.
By the way, Lloyd Banks did that better.
Nah. Shmurda kill that.
I don't agree with that. I actually prefer Lloyd Banks' version.
Shmurda kill it, and what gets Shmurda in problems is he went self-snitching.
Yeah, like what is that? Joe?
But the thing is just the short nature of the beat is all about the beat and the song,
Yeah.
and then you get into a kind of a weird hook kind of thing. But we didn't talk about the number one, probably most successful SoundCloud rapper of all, Chance the Rapper.
Yeah.
Right.
I would
But do we
say
count?
he's more successful because that others
Well, you win a Grammy, so
Well, yeah,
already.
he did, yeah.
because it's
already.
Yachty the final little Yachty on SoundCloud.
Oh yeah, that guy. Oh yes,
Right.
who also brought out his new album.
Boat, little boat or whatever.
Little Boat 2. Yeah, I wasn't even a fan of the first one. Yes,
I never liked it.
Love Lil Yachty
Terrible.
albums myself. Yeah.
Anyway, so CB4 is a product of its time. Is it great? Yeah, not really. But it is something that worth watching in a sense. And again, is a good, interesting piece of hip hop culture and history, because the aspect is, okay, when your parodies and your imitations catching up with the original material, that is when it's time to check the actual original material. And this was a turning point in rap music, I would argue. It was really when gangster rap really started to ramp up and take off.
Yeah.
But then people was like, all right, what's going on? If you're going to mix such countercultures in one aspect, how are you going to make it work?
Right.
That's the idea. So it's clearly corporate, but at the same time, it's clearly anti-corporate. Now you're going to square this and make sense of it. And yeah, it have a lot of hypocrisies and inconsistencies and incoherencies in between. And that is what this movie exploited quite well at the time.
Yes.
I wouldn't say it's the best. I still prefer Don't Be a Menace. But that was just another internal battle amongst Black America, especially Black America. Hip, humor. And yeah, that's where it works from that. That's just my last take on this movie.
All right. Well, what I would say though, I didn't really mention Doe Be a Menace, right? Which is still one of my favorite Wayans films ever, right? But
Yeah.
to me, what makes that film work is the slapstick approach to it, just them just going straight slapstick with everything that they do. So it's like, yeah, I remember that reference from that show, whatever it is. But when you think about it, it's like, yeah, that is kind of funny, you know what I mean?
Right.
But because with this show here, because it's touching on this big issue of rap music, because even one character says is like, rap music's not gonna last, and look where we are right now, you know what I mean? It was like the perfect time to really like talk about it at that time. And I would say this film is like an easy cult classic. Like if you're a hip hop head, especially with 90s hip hop, like old school hip hop, like golden age hip hop, I would say, then you would love this. There's much to really appreciate here. Like I said before, some of the jokes or some aspects of the film don't really work that well. And they do feel dated today, but that's to be expected actually. But I just felt personally that it could have been way smarter than it was. Just because of the talent that's there, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Not just Chris Rock, but Nelson George and everybody else who's there, They could have been a little bit more, it could have been a little bit smarter, you know what I mean? Not too much, but just a little bit more. But I still think it is a fairly entertaining film. If you're a fan, you'll still love it today. They're like, oh, well, it doesn't really, I kind of hate it now, you know what I mean? It's kind of weird, it's kind of ironic now that, the same thing that they were addressing here, which is funny because, you would imagine a rapper back in the 90s saying, well, yeah, you CB4 guys, you CB4 rappers, you know what I mean? Kind of calling out fake rappers right there and using CB4 as like the perfect reference. But today, it's ironic now with this, like I say, with the SoundCloud movement, and not blaming SoundCloud entirely for it, but just the fact that there are these rappers coming out just doing the same thing that every other SoundCloud rapper doing, which is just faking the funk, as Doe Boi said, and making it big, So I don't. It's just kind of ironic today. I'm not saying that CB4 should have been the film to kind of remind youngsters these days, hey, don't do that, But for what it's worth, it is still a fun, entertaining film. It doesn't overstay its welcome. It's just there. And I guess I would say if you're not a fan of hip hop music, you will not understand this film at all. You'll think it's like real contradictory and really immature and dumb. But if you're into it like us, then there's much to really enjoy with it. So yeah, that's all I have to say. Doe Boi, your final words on CB4. Like looking at it today.
Looking at it today, if it was today, this the release, it will go straight to DVD.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Agreed.
But how I watch it again, being that how it was 1993 this come out. At that time, people needed something to laugh at within the culture, and House Party could only get a laugh at.
Right.
Yeah,
So-
yeah.
That's a good
and,
reference,
and its sequels, which in retrospect we didn't need. We didn't need. They could have stopped at two.
Right.
Right? But continue.
So this comedy was needed at that time because it was having a little drought with hip hop comedies. Being that how the last one was House Party 2 that came out in 1991.
Yes.
Right.
So it was good for that time. Was it executed well? It could have done better. Do it stand up to somebody like me that like hip hop and stuff? It stands up to me as a staple hip hop movie.
Yes.
Well, tell somebody is if you want to watch this, you gotta watch this like how you watch Half Baked, fried. Smoke something.
Agreed, yeah.
Fried. You
It's one of
smoke
those shows.
something, you drink something, and you sit down and you laugh.
And you sing Sweat Off My Balls. Whatever.
Yeah. Yeah, you just sit down, watch this either totally fried or drunk, and have a good time.
Yeah. Well, sorry to cut you there again, but as I mentioned, sweat on my balls. Another drawback to the film, there could have been more songs from CB4 though. We only
Yeah,
heard two
true.
songs from them. We only heard two
Yeah,
songs.
that's
You know, Fear of a Black Hat had more songs from the group that was in the film. You know, you could have got a little bit more music from CB4 itself instead of gravitated to two songs. You know what I mean? But yeah,
And as I said, if it's a hip hop movie enthusiast, this should be in your collection because
yeah, definitely,
it is a good hip hop movie.
yeah.
all right.
That's it.
All right. So Ricardo, where can we find you online, man? If you want to talk more about CB4.
Passat RMEDDY. That is Passat at Armedy on Twitter. Or you can just type in Ricardo Medina on Facebook. You can find me there.
All right, Doe Boi, where can we find you online? That's it.
You could find me on Instagram at Good Job Doe Boi.
Like you ignored, you just try to ignore Facebook, but like you don't want anybody to look for you on Facebook, but
Nah. I'm ducking people.
all right.
Yeah.
Federales. Federales.
Yeah, two people avoided Facebook, but as for me, you could find me on Facebook. Just look for my name, Matthew Bailey, along with a Legally Black blog official fan base, where you find the link to this podcast here, as well as the others that we've done before. And of course, look out. Well, you know, check out the last episode that we did where we talked about 50 Cent's debut studio album, Get Rich or Die Trying. And also, you can find me on Twitter. Just look for Legally Black MJB and capital letters. You can also find me on Instagram. Just look for, well, the current name that I have now is Matthew Bailey Reviews. That's what I'm using right now. I'm not sure if I'm going to change it by the year's end, but that's what I roll with right now. So, you know, you can check it out there. Alright, so this was our second episode of Retrospect Reviews, so hope you guys enjoyed it. Please like and share this video and also subscribe to the channel. You know, just look out for more because we have some more stuff we're going to be talking about in the near future. So yeah, keep your eyes and ears open for that. And once again, in the words of Dead Mike from CB4, because I'm black y'all, I'm black y'all, I'm blackity black, and I'm black y'all, and I'm bliggity black, and black, and black, and I'm black, and I'm back. And that's it. So take care until the next one. Peace. Later.
Peace.